The Chinese government has been suspected of sending a comically large white colored balloon to steal sensitive data about certain locations in our country, which led to the general outcry, mainly from conservative pundits, to strike back using military force. Meanwhile, these same people feigning their ignorance has been remarkably silent when it comes to the absurd and egregious abuses the NSA have done to the citizenry of this country. Let's talk about the NSA collection program and its mega storage facility, the Utah Data Center. The Utah Data Center, also known as the Intelligence Community Comprehensive National Cybersecurity Initiative Data Center, is a data storage facility for the United States intelligence community that is designed to store data estimated to be on the order of billions and billions and billions of gigabytes or larger. Its purpose is to support the Comprehensive National Cybersecurity Initiative, also known as the CNCI, through its precise mission is classified. The National Security Agency, also known as the NSA, leads operation at the facility as the executive agent for the Director of National Intelligence. It is located at Camp Williams near Bluffdale, Utah, between Utah Lake and the Great Salt Lake, and was completed in May of 2014 at a cost of $1.5 billion. Critics believe that the data center has the capability to process all forms of communication, including the complete contents of private emails, cell phone calls, and internet searches, as well as all types of personal data trails, parking receipts, travel itineraries, bookstore purchases, and other digital pocket litter. In response to claims that the data center would be used to illegally monitor email of U.S. citizens, in April of 2013, an NSA spokesman said, quote, "Many unfounded allegations have been made about the planned activities of the Utah Data Center. One of the biggest misconceptions about NSA is that we unlawfully listen in on or reading emails of U.S. citizens. This is simply not the case," end quote. However, in April of 2009, officials at the United States Department of Justice acknowledged that the NSA had indeed engaged in large-scale overcollection of domestic communications in excess of the United States Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court's authority, but claimed that the acts were unintentional and had since been rectified. In August of 2012, the New York Times even published a report and short documentaries by independent filmmakers such as Laura Poitras, based on interviews with former NSA technical director and whistleblower William Binney. The project had been designed for foreign signals intelligence, also known as SIGINT collection, but Binney alleged that after the September 11 terrorist attacks, controls that limited unintentional collection of data pertaining to U.S. citizens were removed, prompting concerns by him and others that the actions were illegal and unconstitutional. Binney alleged that the Bluffdale facility was designed to store a broad range of domestic communications for data mining without warrants. Documents leaked to the media in June 2013 described PRISM, a national security computer and network surveillance program operated by the NSA, as enabling in-depth surveillance on live internet communications and stored information. Reports linked the data center to the NSA's controversial expansion of activities, which store extremely large amounts of data. Privacy and civil liberty advocates raised concerns about the unique capabilities that such a facility would give to intelligence agencies. They park stuff in storage in the hopes that they will eventually have time to get it, said James Lewis, a cyber expert at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. He went on to say, well, that they'll find something that they need to go back and look for in masses of data. Most of it sits and is never looked at by anyone. The UDC was expected to store internet data as well as telephone records from the controversial NSA television cell database called Mainway when it opened in 2013. in light of the controversy over the NSA's involvement in the practice of mass surveillance in the United States, and prompted by the 2013 mass surveillance disclosures by ex-NSA contractor Edward Snowden, the Utah Data Center was hailed by the Wall Street Journal as a symbol of the spy agency's surveillance prowess. Finney had said that the facility was built to store recordings and other content of communications, not only from metadata. According to an interview with Snowden, the project was initially known as the Massive Data Repository within NSA, was renamed to Mission Data Repository due to the former sounding too creepy. In 2012, former Utah Governor Gary Herbert stated that the center would collect and store billions of gigabytes of data, that the NSA states that the actual storage facility is indeed classified in how much it stores, but acknowledges that it does contain an extremely vast amount of data and that it was built with the capacity to keep expanding forever. The facility includes large water storage tanks, cooling towers, chiller plants. Some reports estimated that it requires 1.7 million gallons of water per day. The supercomputer that processes and stores all this data is called Cascade, and it's capable of computing 100,000 trillion calculations per second. According to the NSA, the data collected and stored here includes text messages, phone calls, website visits, internet searches, emails, credit card information, travel information, legal documents, financial information, and health records. Throughout the years, there's been plenty of controversy surrounding the Utah Data Center and the NSA's mass surveillance of private data at this facility and others. But the silence of our congressional leaders from both the left and right is deafening. Let's hear from the experts who want to bring about attention to this very expansive and abusive program of our privacy data in the long run.
I'm not sure how many of you got a chance to hear Keith Alexander yesterday, the head of the NSA, talk about the NSA's activities. Bill, how do you reconcile, is there some way to reconcile General Alexander's statement that the NSA isn't keeping track of every American with the existence of a facility like the one in Utah?
NSA's charter, and it was a legitimate one, was to do foreign intelligence, and I was with that all the way, and I did the best I could in that job. Unfortunately, they took those programs that I built and turned them on you, and I'm sorry for that. I didn't intend that, but they did that.
What you're describing really is hard to reconcile with the laws as the laws are generally understood by the lawyers who work with them.
Most people are familiar with the Webster's definition of intercept. UCIT 18 has a different definition, and that's an intercept doesn't take place until it's actually listened to, until somebody puts on some earphones or actually reads some text on a screen. So you can pull in all the communications you want.
The acquisition isn't the search. The querying later on is the search. They can then keep it in their database and target after the fact by going back and conducting data mining searches afterward, in other words, to get the information that they couldn't target from the outset.
And there is another real problem. Unfortunately, the software will, once it takes in data, it will build profiles on everybody in that data. The purpose is to monitor, be able to monitor what people are doing. You build social networks for everybody. That then turns into the graph, and then you index all that data to that graph, which means you can pull out a community that gives you an outline of the life of everybody in the community. And if you carry it over time from 2001 up, you have that 10 years worth of their life that you could lay out in a timeline. That involves anybody in the country. Even senators and House of Representatives, all of them. The dangers here are that we fall into something like a totalitarian state like East Germany.